G'ya sas, I'm Sevo and this is Meraki TV. Tonight on the show we talk to the co-creators of the Institute of Hellenic Dance and Culture, look at the mythology of the Sirens in 3 minutes or less, explore the new film by Greek-Australian filmmaker Platon Theodoris, visit Helen's Kouzina for some mouth-watering treats, get some cool Did You Know There Were Greek Facts, and of course all the glitz and goss with Stavroula. To start us off though this week is Maria Hohlastou, who visited the Greek bilingual bookshop in Dulwich Hill to talk to Emilio Kirou, Victorian High Court Justice, who's just released a memoir on his experience of growing up Greek in Australia. Be ready for the good, the bad and the triumphant.
You're a very successful judge in the Supreme Court.
Yes.
So what made you decide to write a book about your journey in life?
I wanted to capture my family's history before my parents passed away, but also as I got writing, I decided to write about my own experience as a migrant and all the setbacks and difficulties that I had, because talking to other people of that era, it was really a general story about the migrant experience.
So what was the turning point for you in life, for you to feel that you needed to change your name?
Well, I was about 9 at the time, and coming from the north of Greece, I was blonde and blue-eyed, and I didn't look Greek, but my name always gave me away. And so the name became associated with the abuse that I got, the bullying and the racism. I hid the fact that I was Greek by asking people to call me John. And I got away with it unless people asked me for my surname, which then gave me away. But at the age of 15, all the bullies left school, and the students that remained at school were serious students that wanted to go to university, etc. And at that point, I became confident and secure in who I was, and therefore at that point I asked people to call me Emilios again, so reverting back to my real name and in a sense reclaiming my identity and the Greek heritage.
What did your parents say when you changed it to John? Did they understand or?
Not really. Mum and Dad really didn't understand a lot of what was going on. They didn't really experience racism themselves, in the sense that if we were walking down the street and someone threw abusive names at us, my parents would say, "Τι είπε αυτός?" And I'd say, "Ah, τίποτα." So I was the one that sort of copped it and absorbed it on their behalf, if you like. So
you chose law. Is
Yes.
there any particular reason why you chose to study law?
Being the oldest in the family, I acted as my parents' interpreter and advocate. I looked after them, whatever disputes and other things that they had. And from that experience, from the age of 9, 10, 11, I realised that to protect yourself and your family, it was best to know your rights. So wanting to get an education and wanting to know my rights, it was an easy option then to become a lawyer.
What do you think would be beneficial for me and for other readers to actually get from it?
A few things, hopefully. One is an acknowledgement of the great sacrifices that people of my parents' generation made for us. I think that first generation needs to be celebrated more than they are, because they're now frail and they're dying. So it was really a tribute to them. And secondly, that always be true to yourself. If you're bullied, stand your ground. Be proud of who you are, because it's not your fault. You're the victim. It's the others who are ignorant, and it's their fault. And you should realise that, and that should be a source of strength for you.
Emilio, it was lovely to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you very much, Mary.
Greek mythology has given the world so many wonderful stories, not to mention Hollywood, some amazing blockbusters. One of the most beloved and widely used is the legend of the Sirens, and here in 3 minutes or less are the ancient Greek origins. The Sirens. Legend has it that the Sirens were beautiful creatures that lured sailors to their doom. Their song would be irresistible to man and would thus cause sailors to steer their ships onto the reefs near their island, resulting in their death. The legend stems from Greek mythology. The river god Aeschylus had 3 daughters, Persinoe, Delxiepi and Molpi. One played the lyre, one the flute, and the other sang. The daughters were companions of Persephone, the daughter of the goddess Demeter. Now Hades, god of the underworld, fell in love with Persephone and wanted her as his bride. So one day, as Persephone was gathering flowers, Hades appeared in his chariot, swooped down and abducted her into the underworld. The goddess Demeter was distraught at her disappearance and gave the 3 daughters of Achelous wings to assist them in searching for Persephone. After a long and fruitless mission, the 3 sisters eventually gave up and settled on the flowery island of Anthemoessa. Here they would forevermore be called the Sirens and sing a beautiful yet sad melody, eternally calling for Persephone's return. The most famous story of the Sirens comes from Homer's The Odyssey. Odysseus, knowing of the Sirens, when he was to sail past the island of Anthemoessa, plugged the crew's ears with wax and ordered them to bind him on the mast of the ship. He also told them that no matter how much he might beg, they should not untie him. When they finally reached the area near the Sirens' Island, Odysseus started to beg his shipmates to let him go, but none heard him, and so the ship and the men on board were all saved. The Sirens, seeing that a man heard their song and managed to escape, were so distraught that they threw themselves into the sea and drowned. And so originally, the Sirens did not have the mermaid-like appearance that movies such as Pirates of the Caribbean like to portray them with. But then, what are myths and legends if not the perfect vehicle for which to let the imagination soar? Eremia Home Care Services. It's so difficult asking for help. Take the stress out and enjoy precious time because there's no place like home. eremia.com.au. Glico 0405 771 819 for Babonieri, special treats and to make your event a hit. Call Glico 0405 771 819. Wish you were in Greece, Melbourne, New York or any other exotic destination? Call Peter at Megatravel 9824 2427. Megatravel. Platon Theodoris is a Greek-Australian filmmaker who is daring to take on the quirky. Having previously shot short films, commercials and music videos, his movie Alvin and the Harmonious World of Opposites is his first feature. An unofficial cooperation between Australia and Indonesia, this film is a close study of the character Alvin, a young man who has not left his apartment in 18 months. With beautiful cinematography and lots of love and warmth for his character, Platon mirrors to us just how much we all allow our fears and obsessions to rule us. Billy Cotsis was fortunate enough to grab 5 minutes with one of the Greek-Australian actresses, Tina Andrews.
Tina, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Billy.
I understand you're starring in a new film, and it's a film that's made by Platon Theodoris, and it's a very quirky film called Alvin's Harmonious World of Opposites.
Yes, indeed.
Can you tell us a little bit about this film?
The film is about a character called Alvin who is a little bit lost in his own world. He's quite a quirky, I would say maybe a little bit of a lost kind of soul, trying to find himself maybe.
When I'm in that zone, I'm so intensely absorbed, I forget about myself.
Well, I chose. The work you do is great.
You can't just spend the rest of your life in an apartment, Alvin.
And can you tell us a little bit about your involvement, how you came about your role as Despina in this particular film?
It was actually quite unexpected. We were having coffee one day and Platon and I with another friend of ours, and he was just looking at me up and down, and I said, "What are you staring at?" And he said, "You'd make a really good real estate agent." I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "Would you be in my movie?" And I went, "I think so. I've never been in a movie before, so this is my first role."
Speaking of Platon, is it true that he's won a couple of awards, MTV Music Video Awards and some other awards for short films? I understand he's got a collection going at the moment with awards.
He does, and he has a new one. Would you like to see?
I'd love to see it.
So Platon won the Dead Oscar at the Sydney Underground Film Festival for Best Film.
Fantastic. Now, why is it called a Dead Oscar?
Because he doesn't breathe, first of all, and he is made from old TV sets that have been smashed up and then made into an Oscar.
Now tell us, in terms of moving forward, what next for Platon as a director-writer and also yourself as an actress?
I'm hoping David Lynch will phone me
Excellent.
to maybe have a cameo in Twin Peaks season 3. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I'm putting it out there. And in terms of Platon, I think bigger and, more exciting things. I think he's extremely talented and very quirky and very, very unique.
I can't come to the door right now!
We're gonna bloody have to, Alvin, because I am not putting up with this shit. I am not living in a third world slum!
Tell me something. If I wanted to speak to some of my friends or some of the viewers out there, why should they go and see Alvin?
Because it's different, it's thought-provoking, it's quirky, and it's quite moving as well.
Well, people don't realise, right? They can get so obsessed by something that they don't realise the damage it's doing.
Clueless, man. Bloody clueless.
Tina, where can we watch Alvin's Harmonious World of Opposites?
So check out your local film festivals because it will be doing the rounds nationally and internationally. And if you want to find out more info, the website and Facebook.
I have a small confession to make. When it comes to cooking, I struggle. Beautiful dishes take time and lots of skill and effort, but do they? Thanks to our beautiful Helen and her Kouzina, I've already started fooling people with my culinary delights. And now I can't wait to see what she's got in store for us this week.
Hi guys, welcome to another little cooking episode. Today I'm going to take you back to my roots, which is the Cypriot roots. My favourite dish that my mum used to always cook for us, pork offelia with burguri. To start off with, we're going to put about a tablespoon of butter into a fry pan. Adding a little bit of olive oil because, we just love our olive oil. Probably about 1/4 cup. To start off with, we're going to add our onion and garlic. Fry your onion and garlic, which by the way smells sensational, just so it's a little bit translucent because the next step is really, really important. We've got angel hair. Now you can use angel hair, you don't have to use it at all, but I love it because it gives it that really beautiful texture through the pilaffi. You want your angel hair to start to brown. Add in our burguri. And at this stage, I like to add a little bit more olive oil, just so that it starts to fry up the burguri as well. You don't have to cook the burguri all that long. I find that if you toast it a little bit, it has that really beautiful nutty flavour. We're going to add in about 1/4 cup of fresh chopped up tomato. Nothing like a little bit of cracked pepper. We're going to put a little bit of cracked salt. To that, we're going to put about 2 cups of chicken stock. Turn your heat right down low and let it simmer away. Make sure that you're always constantly stirring it through. While our burguri is simmering away, we're going to start on the pork offelia. The secret to a really good pork offelia, or any offelia at all, is to marinate whatever it is you're cooking in red wine overnight. If you don't have that time, an hour in the fridge with red wine is just as good. So we've got a really, really hot pan, and to that I'm going to put some olive oil. To the pan we're going to add our beautiful marinated pork offelia. Really important at this stage, guys, you don't discard the wine that it's been marinating in, and the bay leaf. That's going to go right at the end and really seal the deal. Once the red wine starts to evaporate, you know that you've got a great dish coming along. Now you can cook this for as long or as little as you like. If you really want it to tenderise and get a really great dish out of it, I'd suggest you probably simmer it for about 20 minutes. If you're in a hurry like I usually am, 10 minutes is fine. Always check on your burguri. To double check that it's almost ready, or definitely ready, just check your fry pan, and if you've got the drizzle of the oil seeping around it and all the red wine has gone, it's ready to eat. Optional, a little bit of chopped tomato just at the end, just to give it that freshness. And of course, finish it off with our beautiful herbs.
Did you know that one of the stars of the hit US TV show Modern Family is Greek? Ariel Winter, who plays the role Alex Dunphy in Modern Family, is Greek. She claims her Greek heritage through her grandparents on her mother's side. The Greek name is Eleftheria. The Modern Family star, who also has a number of motion picture roles, including voiceovers in Ice Age and Bambi, also starred alongside Sakis Rouvas in the movie Duress, which was Rouvas' first English film role in 2009.
Gliko 0405 771 819 for Babanieri, special treats and to make your event a hit. Call Gliko 0405 771 819. Irimia Home Care Services. It's so difficult asking for help. Take the stress out and enjoy precious time because there's no place like home. Irimia.com.au. Wish you were in Greece, Melbourne, New York or any other exotic destination? Call Peter at Megatravel 9824 2427. Megatravel. Greek culture embodies so much. It's probably why we find it so hard to give up our connection. There's something for everyone, be it music, dance, costume, arts, philosophy, literature, and so much more. Two young people who are taking up the challenge of being the caretakers are Rita and Vasili Aliganis from the Institute of Hellenic Dance and Culture. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Anna.
Can you tell us what is the Institute of Hellenic Dance and Culture?
Well, the Institute, Anna, aims at celebrating Hellenic values, celebrating Hellenic history, celebrating it through dance, culture, folk costume, and primarily for me, as a dance teacher, being able to preserve and disseminate such a wonderful culture that we have, and being able to preserve it and disseminate it to people that are Greek and also non-Greek, and to the future generations here in Australia.
And how are you guys planning to do that?
An online course where people could, through iTunes U or through some sort of website where people could tune in and actually take the course through a semester and actually do an online study of it.
And is this primarily presented in English, in Greek? What kind of language skills do you need to be able to?
Well, parts of the course, you'd have to understand a little bit of Greek. However, most of it, both Rita and I have sat down and we've actually developed it and we've written it out in English. So we'd like to really develop an archive, a music archive. Over the past 25 years, I've collected numerous amounts of CDs and records and audio tapes. At the moment, I'm currently sitting on about 350,000 audio files, which eventually I'd love to put online and have people access these traditional songs.
The end goal for the Institute, if you could have, $20 million thrown at you and do anything you wanted with it, what would be the absolute?
The absolute dream would be to develop a Hellenic centre so we could house not only a wide and beautiful costume archive, because we do have a costume archive, but also it's an educational centre where people could come along and learn about Greek history, Greek art, Greek poetry, actually run it like a museum so we could have school students come through with a syllabus so all the Greek students could come in and learn about Greek culture through this institute.
We'd also really love to have somewhere that Greek families that have been in Australia for generations can come and perhaps share their heirlooms, their family heirlooms, and story of how they came to Australia and how they've kept their culture alive.
Everyone keeps going, well, after the third generation, really, who cares? And I think that's not true.
I really argue that point. I really think that it doesn't matter what generation you are, if you have a little bit of the Greek kindred spirit within you, it'll come through. We've got other communities that run these massive cultural centres and they do educational programs and everyone's learning about them. But what are we doing? So we really need to get on the bandwagon and make sure that we preserve this and make sure that it's given to our next generation.
One very prominent part of Greek culture is spreading news. Up next is a girl who does it with style, class and pizzazz. Here with the glitz and goss, it's Stavroula.
Hi, I'm Stavroula with the Glitz and Goss. Chris Fatouras and Spiros Valleros recreate the spirit of Hydra in the 60s for Songs and Tales of Bohemia, part of Melbourne Music Week. This musical production tells of Leonard Cohen's arrival in Hydra and his friendship with Australian writers George Johnson and Charmaine Clift across 3 nights, 13, 14 and 20 November, 7 p.m. at the Hellenic Museum, Melbourne. In the 1950s and 60s, artists like George Johnson, Elizabeth Taylor and Leonard Cohen bought houses in Hydra and laid the foundations of a foreign community that still exists today. Practically every celebrity in the world has set foot on Hydra at some time or other. The island became famous with films Boy on a Dolphin, starring Sophia Loren, A Girl in Black by Michael Kakoyannis, and Phaedra with Melina Mercouri and Anthony Perkins. Lennon, Clapton, Rolling Stones, Pink Floyd, and many others passed through Hydra. The island inspired many artists who made history. Hydra was, and is, one of the major centres of artistic creation. Unspoiled and with its absence of cars, there are donkeys to take you along the cobbled streets and the dirt paths to outlying hamlets and beaches. Ο Γιώργος Tsalikis έκανε τη νύχτα μέρα, selling out shows in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Darwin. His tour down under was one amazing adventure, getting up close with snakes, swimming with the crocodiles, and taking time out to meet and greet the locals and having a dance with them. Delios Andras, just like his song, pleasing young and old. Tsalikis also caught up with Darwin friends Nikos Kourkoulis and Kelly Kidu. And good news, he loved his time here so much, he will be returning. Alpha Restaurants celebrated all things Hellenic with the release of George Kalambaris' new book, Greek. An intimate evening event with a MasterChef star himself as he revealed an exclusive menu with dishes from his new book, including the likes of taramasalata popcorn, miso eggplant souvlaki, kataifi prawns, and my favourite, the Gazi famous bom metaxa. Sydney-based artist George Raftopoulos is best known for his bold paintings with strange creatures and distorted figures. His latest exhibition, Mythic Nation, at Arterial Gallery Roselle, Sydney, opened to a huge response. Raftopoulos mines Greek myths and psyche of his heritage and his experience growing up Greek in a small Australian country town. Raftopoulos has just signed with a major art gallery in New York, with an upcoming exhibition scheduled for the early new year. That's all the glitz and goss tonight. Catch me next week on Meraki TV.
Παιδιά, great παρέα once again. Thank you so much. A big thank you to all our guests tonight, Emilios Kirou, Tina Andrews and Rita and Vasili Aliyanis. Stay in touch with us during the week via social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course you can catch up on episodes on YouTube or our website. Have a great week, and until next week, Vilakya from me, Anna Sevo.